All right, it's the next day. Everybody survived night one, although I do think it was a bit of a rough sleep. When they first went to bed, we kind of spied on them from our little vent hole for a bit. And yeah, there was definitely a little bit of pecking, especially from Emine. She's the one in front there. She's a bit of a bitch. But they ended up curling up in one pod of they like to sleep in the nesting boxes still. So they did curl up in the one pod. There's the other ones at the back there. They're kind of keeping to their own halves. So we do have a food dish, a little tray of calcium pellets for them, and now a water bowl back there. And I just put some treats. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But yeah, they have separate things and they are kind of keeping separate, which I think is fine for the first few days. As long as no one's fighting, I don't mind if they want to keep to their own little groups. But anyways, so last night, yeah, the three of them curled up in that front nesting box, and then the other ones were just kind of in the middle area when we first left for the night. But this morning, when we opened it up, the three other ones, the new girls, were in the far back nesting box. So that was good in a sense that they settled into their own areas, and I hope that they had a peaceful enough sleep once everyone settled down for the night. But yeah, so I'm trying out some more new things. They were getting a lot of new things. They got a whole new batch of friends, if they eventually become that. They got a new sandbox yesterday. They got some new... I'm just really trying to up the game a little bit, making it a bit better for them. Nobody's really tried out the ladder, but maybe that'll be in time. And even I have to remember, like, these three that are the older girls are only like 6 months old. They are still babies, so they've got lots of time to learn. These are just babyer babies. We've been calling them the Chickies because they basically sound like chicks. Like, they're still making the little cheep, 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 cheep. They sound like chicks, but they look like young chickens. So they're in that in-between awkward teenager phase. So I'm calling them the Chickies, and the other ones the big bitches, because they really are. I had to give Emine a talking to today. I gave her a little pat, and then I held her for a minute and just said, "You be nice." So yeah, I've put up this little thing with some bungee cords and a hanger so they can try a little harder to get their treats. We had some zucchini from our garden last night for dinner, so I kept some scraps of that for them, some chunks that I kept separate that we didn't bake or anything. So they're just raw from the fridge. And then we had all this squash from last winter that we had frozen, and then we kind of concluded that we're not really a huge fan of squash. To be honest, I really never have been. I've tried to force myself to like it, but so we still had 2 big freezer bags full. So this is only like a handful of what we have, the orange squash in there, from our garden last year. So it is frozen at the moment, but it's hot out today. It's like 30 degrees, so I do think it'll thaw over the day and they'll be able to peck away at it in there. And they're so far taking to it. This is another trick I learned from my online trying to find things to entertain chickens. So I think this is a good way to feed them treats, because it'll make them have to spend a bit more time rather than just... They go pretty hard at it when we just put it in there and they'll fight over it. This gives them an opportunity to all have a little taste. Even Fatma, my disabled chicken, gets to have some. I don't know if I talked about it, but her beak is a little shorter on the top half. I wonder if it broke when she was young. And it really hasn't, I don't know, their beaks do grow, but it hasn't really grown back. So I think she has a harder time eating because of her top beak being a bit shorter. She has a hard time grabbing things, I think. So I consider her now disabled. So, oh my gosh, you're Linda. Who is Fatma? Okay, that was Linda I was talking about. Do you have a fucked up beak too? Okay, Linda's beak is okay. Fatma's is a bit worse. Kind of see it there. It's like short on top. So I'm hoping, usually the other girls can get the food quicker than her, and I feel like she does get some treats, but I feel like she has a harder time. So even now Linda and Fatma are starting to look similar to me. Fatma is still lighter, but in the certain lighting I couldn't tell. Like, I consider Fatma like a ginger. She's kind of on the orange side, whereas these ones have a bit darker of like the red feathers. But yeah, her and Linda are looking... Before, when we had Matilda and Linda I thought were the twins. But yeah, anyways, Emine is the only one that looks like distinctly different. She's got like the brown kind of head and neck. The other two are like lighter with the white feathers around the neck. Anyways, okay. Logistics. And yes, I haven't named the other two or the other three because I can't really tell them apart yet, other than one of them is clearly smaller. I think it might be from a slightly younger batch. They had a few litters, I don't know what you call it, clutches. They had a few rounds, so it sounds like from a few hens. So once they grow into themselves, I honestly might not even name them until they're a bit bigger. But over the coming days, I'm sure I'll be able to find ways to tell them apart. Oh, girls. Okay, so I hope the other ones are eating too. Let's go look. They do get a little bit spooked when I come around the side, so I'm going to be very careful. But are you guys eating? Try your treats. I don't think they've necessarily found it yet, but oh, it looks like it's moved maybe a bit. I don't know. But they've got everything back there. Sorry, the camera keeps going out of focus. I don't know what's in and out of focus, but I'll try to pay attention. They've got food, calcium, water, and treats. And then we opened up the back of the coop today just so that way they'd get a little more used to, because obviously it's a bit of a mystery what was in there for them yesterday, and they weren't really going in at bedtime. We had to carry everyone, and even these girls, because they were like wanting to go in for the night. It was 9, it's like bedtime, but they kept coming back out to kind of like tell the others, hey, you're not allowed in. Like they were like going to be pissed that the other ones were going to follow them in. So they were like running back out to be like, you're not welcome, which is so rude, but I get it. They're doing very well considering. You know, I did think, is this a bad idea to like put them all together right away? But I've been keeping a close eye on them yesterday and today, and they're keeping separate, but they're being respectful enough. But yeah, you can see my girls back there. Let's try to get a better look. So 2 of them up front are a bit bigger. The one in the middle there is a little smaller. She got such a little tail. Oh my goodness. Hi. Oh my god, they're so cute. They make their little baby noise. Cheep, 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 cheep. Anyways, okay. Alright, I'm going to go to the garden after this, but yeah, I think because I'm standing here, they think I'm going to feed them more dandelions, which is really their favorite, and good, I guess, because it's free, but I'm trying not to like overdo it. It's probably not good to have too much of anything, but they are getting the hang of this. They're giving it a try. I'm sure they'll try a little more once I walk away and they don't see me standing here anymore. Yeah, it's taking on nicely. I mean, of course, if there's food in it, you're gonna go to it, so I think once that squash melts a bit better too, they'll be able to get better bites. Yeah, squash is so good for you. And you're gonna have lots of it. And then there'll be so many pumpkins in the fall once my pumpkin plants grow, so they'll have plenty. Squash all year round. I think that's great. Can we also just do a shout out to the bees? I honestly just absolutely love just seeing them with their big little, yes. You know, they have these big sacs on their legs. Honestly, I just love watching them, and I've never been stung by a bee, and I frequent hanging out with them, and I don't get it. Honestly, I'm probably gonna jinx myself saying this, but people are like constantly like, oh, I got stung by another bee, and it's like, what are you doing to get stung by these things? I guess it just happens. It's obviously you're not asking for it, but I'm like, I don't know. They haven't got me yet, so as for now, I'm one with the bees. And we got a few different kinds. And I know this is probably like riveting content, but I'm filming what I'm into, and this is what I'm into. Okay, a little bit of a garden update. I don't know when I last did one, but it's grown a little wild, as in some of this stuff is not our vegetables. Like the stuff in that cage area in the middle is just weeds, but to be honest, just kind of like letting it be. The black mat does keep stuff down other than like the openings at the edges and in the middle a little. This one actually got snipped by something, but it still has prevailed and tried to grow 2 more shoots off the side, so even that's impressive. The tomatoes are huge. There's some green tomatoes on there. Peppers are looking pretty good. For some reason this one's pretty small, but the rest are looking pretty good. Same with the beans. They're growing a little, I feel like the pole needed to be maybe a few feet higher, but it's as tall as me, and that's as good as you're gonna get. Sorry, bugs everywhere. Cucumbers are looking great. And the one on the front porch is also growing little baby cukes too, so we got 2 good ones. The watermelon's looking good too. It does have a small watermelon on it. There's a little guy right there. And a few flowers as well, so there'll probably be more soon. And this one I was worried about for a bit, but the cantaloupe is growing pretty well, so I think we'll be okay there. Zucchini, like I said, we've gotten a couple zucchinis. Our only problem is we have the zucchini bugs, or the squash bugs, and look at, oh my god, they're hatching. Ew. Okay, this is like trigger warning. These big fat ugly bugs laid their shitty ugly eggs, and now their shitty ugly babies are being born, which is just hideous. And unfortunately there is some spray coming that will get rid of them, and they're still mating and trying to get more. Ugh, I just hate it. I hate bugs, like the kind that feed off of things like that. So you need to go. So I'm going to try my best to get rid of them, because that's not okay. They didn't like destroy all our pumpkins, but they did some damage to them last year, so they got to go. And then we've got, it's a bit of a weed wild farm here. I was kind of letting the weeds grow amongst the sunflowers, but I might try to get rid of some of the weeds because they're almost getting choked out, I feel like. This one is looking the best so far, but yeah, it's a few feet high. So that's cool. And then the back of the yard, we've got our sunflowers along the fence that are sprouting up nicely. We left some daisies at the back and some other little wildflowers, and we've got some milkweed back there, and then we've got Gracie's plant there. Yeah, so things are looking good. I'll take you to the squash, or the pumpkin side here in a minute. There we have it. All right, I just finished spraying. I only had a little bit of this, but I finished using this on the squash bugs and all their babies and their eggs, and there were so many of them, it was fucking disgusting. But ran out because it wasn't very full, so that was only on one plant, and this one I'm quite certain has, let's dare to take a look. Oh god, they've already hatched. Oh, anyways, it's just disgusting, and I need to figure out if this is even appropriate for them. I don't know if it's going to kill them, so we'll see if the other ones die, but I just hate it. And they like kind of destroy the plant. Like they feed off of it, but they're like it will probably live and produce stuff, but they do kill off a good amount of it. Anyway, so this one is huge, which is lovely. This is the original one, and then these are the two that I replaced it with a few weeks later. They're starting to pop, but they're not really popping the way this big boy is. So hopefully in the next little while we'll see some booming action from these two. But they do have some, something started there, some flowering. So yeah, there we go. There's the garden update. And here is the front little mini garden that I have in here. We've got a cuke, and we've got another little cuke, and we've got my other cantaloupe plants in there that are growing a bit too. So yeah, we'll see.